Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Phatkat Collections. Taking another smart home product, and this is a security camera by a company that goes by the name of, here we go, Viziuuy. Not Viziuuy, Viziuuy. It's V-I-Z-U-U-Y. As always, link in the description. This camera is on sale now, and this is, I'm kind of excited to review this one. You folks know I've reviewed many cameras on this channel. At the end of the day, they're all pretty decent, but some are, do act a little better than others. Again, the features are pretty standard across the board, but this is one of the cameras that other folks make them. Let me just first show you what it looks like, right? It's your typical battery-operated camera, but this is one that I've been waiting patiently for a company to reach out to me for collaboration purposes, and I'm really pleased that I was able to work with this company. So, what makes this camera special? Why did I want this camera? So, this is a battery-powered solar camera. Not a camera, but it has a solar panel built into the actual camera. And this is something that I have been waiting for and wanting for quite some time. Now, let's face it, I need another camera like a hole in the head, but there's always areas around, whether it be your business, your apartment, or your home, that you might want to add a camera to discreetly without having to run wires or try to find a way to get this thing powered. Now, like I said earlier, there's many cameras on the market that have solar panels. The downside, and something I mention in almost every video that I do on battery-powered solar cameras, is the fact that the solar panel is this big clunky thing that ends up making the camera really stand out. It really takes up a lot of space. And that's fine if you're looking for like a pan-tilt camera. I have reviewed other pan-tilt cameras that kind of solve that problem, but I really can't stand cameras with the separate solar panel. I like to mount something and have it be a couple screws and be done with it, right? And what makes this fantastic, again, is that solar panel is engineered right into the camera itself. So you don't have this big giant panel that you have to find room for. Another thing I always complain about when it comes to these solar cameras is when you mount the camera and you have the solar panel, you always have this excess of cords. And that's great if you're trying to mount the panel maybe 8 feet from the camera, or 6 to 8 feet is usually kind of like the average cord length. But otherwise, if not, none of these camera companies have a nice way of cord management. And unless you're going to really extend that panel out, which my recommendation, it's more of a pain in the butt to set up, but if you are going to get a solar paneled camera that you're going to mount, of course, outside, even if you are going to mount this, I usually mount cameras about 9 feet in the air. It's out of reach and it's not too high that you're not going to be able to, you see somebody on it, right? When you start getting the camera up on the second story and higher, everything becomes very difficult to see, even when you have a high resolution camera, right? So what's great about something like normal mounting the camera at 9 feet, somebody can't grab it. Nice that there's no wires, right? It's solar panel, other than the solar panel that's mounted somewhere. But if you're going to get one of those, my recommendation is to keep going and stretch out the cable and mount the solar panel as high as you can. Tack the cable in a neat way or tuck it behind a gutter, depending on where you're mounting it. It just is more of a hassle, and you have more stuff mounted to your house, right? And depending on where you live, you may not want that, right? You may want these to be a little more discreet. I know I do. So this really solves that problem. There's really no reason to have a solar panel larger than this. And I can tell you that I have several cameras that have a panel, I'd probably say an inch by inch larger. And at the end of the day, those cameras don't really need a panel that large to maintain a charge. Again, one of the cameras I have, almost in complete lack of sunlight, the camera never dips below 100%, maybe at night, right? But during the day, cloudy, raining, whatever, it's always maintaining its battery life. So that tells me that the solar panel is just, doesn't maybe need to be that big. So this is fantastic. It does have USB-C on the bottom, so you can plug this in and hardline if you want to. I don't see the point. This has a really nice size solar panel. I'd say it's about 3 by 2. Again, I haven't tested this, but I don't foresee, based on my experience with these other cameras and solar panels, I don't foresee you having a charging issue wherever you're going to mount this. So as far as size, of course, it is a little bit larger than your standard typical battery-powered camera, but again, I'd much rather have these all of my house to some of the ones that I do have. And they're all great, don't get me wrong, but this is fantastic. The other great thing about this, it has a very futuristic look, right? And so what I like is that you do have infrared, you do have the ability to have this see in complete darkness. There is a limit to the infrareds, I'll see if they list that here. It is compatible with your smart home assistants, but I found, oops, sorry, my information just kicked off here. I found that I don't really see the point in how these interact with any of the smart home assistants. What I mean by that is like the Amazon and the Google products. I've very few of these when you say, hey, such and such, hey, smart home assistant, show me front camera. Very few of them that I've ever seen actually show you the image on your TV using those Amazon or Google products. So kind of useless when they mention that. I don't know about this. I will test this at a later date once I get this mounted and see if it does work. Like anything I review like this, companies, when they send these, especially around the holidays, whenever they send me products, they want me to get the video up ASAP, and I just don't have time to mount this, test it, then bring the camera down. I have to look at how long it takes me to produce a video and balance what it's worth, right? This is a $59 camera with 50% off, so it's a $30 camera, and you know I can't spend 4 hours on a video for $30, right? It's simple business, right? But overall, based on my experience with other cameras, they're all about the same. But this is definitely a winner because that solar panel will be mounted right in the top. Now let me just kind of show you a couple close-ups here. You can see we have the camera lens, a sensor, and infrared lights are behind this panel, and then we have these larger kind of opaque, kind of frosted sections. I love the spotlight on this. So a lot of them just kind of look almost a little clunky. Like you could see the LEDs like in this kind of circular pattern. They put them behind this, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to turn on the LED lights. And so this is nice because it acts sort of like a security light. Now you're not going to get an insane amount of light out of this. It's not like a spotlight on the side of your house, right? But you're going to get some light out of it. And sometimes just having the light kick on is a deterrent enough for somebody to actually, you know, if they're walking up your driveway, maybe they don't see the camera and you see the light kick on. And the light, I think, is a fantastic idea on all cameras because, you know, remember the idea in having home security like this, or for a business or whatever, is it's a deterrent, right? None of these things are work like the CIA. You know what I mean? They're not designed to really do that at these price points. They sometimes will give you the alert. Depending on your network and how overwhelmed your network is, depending on your phone, there's a lot of factors on the reliability. You can't put an SD card in this, micro SD, for I think 24-hour recording. Again, the size of the card is going to determine how much footage you have. This one does use the Cloud Edge app, which I've used with other cameras. I like when cameras kind of use apps that are not proprietary to them. So if you have other brand cameras like I do, there are several I have here under this app. So if you buy cameras, it's always nice to try to buy, you can buy different ones, but try to think about getting them all into the same app so you're not like changing apps to try to find stuff. I do find that the Cloud Edge app is more reliable than some of the other apps I've used for motion detection, so that's great. And I'm going to open up this camera right now. And it does have siren, motion detection, the standard stuff, which I'll read you in a second. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of an echo there. So let me just click on the light here. There you go. I mean, super bright. I mean, you can't really tell that by the video, but definitely a lot of light output. And, God, I got to turn that off. And it looks cool. It doesn't look like clunky, right? It has kind of just a real stealthy built-in look. I love this camera. I think it's fantastic. I mean, just simple, clean, nice small form factor, everything all built in, all in one, and this is what we look for. Now, you did hear my voice on that. It does have two-way audio. It does have motion detection, and if I go into the settings, you know, you could record, you can use the cloud feature, which does charge you, so you'll have to sign up to, you know, whatever plan you think you want. As far as the other settings on these, let me see if one important setting is here. You know, a lot of these cameras have got AI intelligent analysis, and this is if you sign up, it'll be able to detect, you know, and I've never seen these things be 100% reliable, but the difference between a pet, people, vehicle, or package. You have alarm management on this, so you can actually receive alerts or not. You can individually adjust the human sensitivity, even without paying, or just the regular sensitivity, right? Which is great. What else on this here? You can turn those off. Some cameras you can't turn off motion detection. That's fantastic. It does have video encryption, of course. And let me see what the general settings. Battery management, you can tell it whether you're plugged in or using solar panel. And a very important factor here, a very important feature, I should say, is the ability to restart the device from your phone or tablet. And I know it sounds very basic, but I can't tell you the number of cameras I have that I actually have to physically unplug, count the 5, and plug them back in, because everything smart does kind of glitch up at times, right? So you will have to power cycle things. If you have them, like if you do have a hardline plug-in camera, it's always good if you're building a home and you think you're going to put camera somewhere, is to put those outlets on a wall switch so you can power cycle the camera. If not, let's say you run lines, you have an outlet in your overhead or overhang or whatnot, however you have to turn that off, you may have to kill the breaker. You may have to kill breaker, power the whole house, because sometimes these do need to be power cycled. And some of the cameras I have, I have to pull out a step stool or a ladder to get to them. So it's nice that you can power cycle these remotely. Because again, and remotely and not from outside your network. Because sometimes you're just not home. You're like, this camera's acting funny. Let me power cycle it. You can do that remotely. Fantastic feature. So let me just talk a little bit about what you get. You do get, again, standard cardboard box. You get a little security sticker. Kind of nice little deterrent. You do get some mounting screws. Looks like a mounting template, USB-C charger or USB-C adapter, no charger, not that you really need it, but good rule of thumb is when you get this, give it a good charge, plug it in for 12 hours, let it get a full battery charge, then mount it, okay? You can also see the battery life left over in this camera, which is fantastic. Let me see what mine says. 100% signal strength, battery life still at 100%. And I've had this thing running on battery now for about 6 hours. A determining factor with all battery-powered cameras is where you mount it, how much motion is it getting, how often is it being triggered. That does determine battery life. But this, 100%, it's been triggered all day long, and we're still at 100, and it's inside. So I don't think this charges off standard non-natural light, but it might. So let me just read you what they state, and we'll just kind of close out the video here, show you a couple more images. Again, $60, 50% off right now. Pick it up, get a couple. I would. I'm just gonna I'm not gonna read everything because some of it's just kind of like trying to sell you like no cables, like obviously, right? 2K HD resolution, which is 2304 by 1296, 3 megapixels. It's 1.5 times more detailed than 1080p, so not full 4K, but more detailed. We'll see what that looks like. As always, when I test these and review them, I'll put a comment in the comment section about what I found, if anything. Usually no news is good news. It says here, the AI motion detection will recognize people, pet, parcel vehicles, and reduce false images. That is yet to be determined. Multi-alarms, once detected, it will send you an instant notification, and it can, again, kind of selling you on this. Surveillance and audio, spotlight warnings, and scare off intruders. IP65 weather resistance, two-way audio. And again, just telling you can see thieves and whatnot. And it'll support up to 125 gig memory card. Get the big one. Don't be like me and being a cheapskate. I get like this, the 8 gig card, the 32. Get the bigger one. You'll have much more peace of mind knowing you have a lot of footage on there, right? Because sometimes we don't always. Sometimes you may have to come back to that footage maybe a couple days later when you actually realize something is you want to check on, right? Maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's something else. Maybe the police have, something's happened in your area and they are looking around saying, hey, do you have footage? It's always good to have more space. I need to take my own advice on that. But other than that, awesome camera, very cool. Again, nice, small, neat form factor. And one thing I also wanted to mention, what was it? I'm drawing a blank here, about the lights. So when the lights pop on for motion, I do believe that they do, most cameras do when you have lights built in, if it detects motion, the lights will pop on. I'm telling you, sometimes you want to hide a camera. Remember, we're not trying to do loss prevention here where you're trying to have camera. We're not trying to catch somebody to find out if like an employee is stealing, right? And we're trying to get them to steal to get the evidence to prosecute or to get the evidence just to get rid of them, right? And we don't want people like that here, right? So we're not trying to do that. Now, if you're... Sorry, ladies, and sorry, guys, for this, but this is the world we live in. If you're trying to catch your spouse being... Should have had these, or that's one of the girls I dated. But if you're trying to, find out if somebody's trustworthy or not, and that's terrible if you feel you have to do that. But, like I always say, trust is a very fragile thing. It can take years to build it and only seconds to destroy it. This is not your camera for hiding, right? Generally, that's a different kind of surveillance. But with something like this, putting it in the front of your house, in your driveway, you want that light. If somebody's coming up trying to like maybe take something out of your driveway or maybe check your car, this light popping on might be enough to say, hey, the neighbors can see that light. Something has caused that light to go off, and it just draws attention to the area. And I think that's fantastic. So that's about it, folks. A couple more close-ups here. Great design, super sleek, simple to mount. A lot of articulation here. It's good they put the speaker below so you get that audio kind of kind of down, it's going to be louder, but I never really use the audio. Yeah, that's about it. If you want to mount this ceiling-wise, you can. If you're putting it on like a soffit, closed soffit, you want to put it on the side of the house, you can. Great mount. Gives you a lot of articulation. Fantastic camera. Can't say enough good things about it. Price is awesome. They also, it looks like they also have a whole system here, which is, I think you can get multiple cameras. Like, I think you can choose a couple. There's also one, this is fantastic as well. There's also three options here you can get with, it looks like, yeah, so you can buy this for, let me see if this one actually, 128. Let me see if you still get 50 off. No, you don't. So if you're gonna pay $50 if you get it with the 128 gig card, and you're gonna pay. It's kind of weird when you click that. You have to go back. Like, it doesn't bring up the other options. So just be mindful when you are ordering this that there's a couple options. $45 gets you a 64 gig card. 128 gig card will cost you $50, and if you get this without the card, $30. You know, unless you want to be bothered with buying a card, I'd probably just buy another card from a different seller. You'll get it cheaper. I feel like you can get a better price on the package by getting the card from somebody else. But definitely get the card is my point. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll come back and update this in the description at a later date. I'm going to put this on the house right now, and we'll see how it does. And if I can help in any way, let me know. I'll do my best to help you. Thanks for watching. Happy holidays, and take care.